Hey, it's your friend Kinsey here at the Flocking Farm. Day 3, Project Garden, let's go.
No idea where I'm going to put the strawberries, but that's half the fun, right?
Hey, I'm Kinsey. I'm a crazy homesteader with a lot of ambitions. I like to talk a lot, and I'm a little goofy, but I'm passionate about intentional living, and I love my family. This is our story at the Flocking Farm.
I was pretty impressed at the amount of stuff that we were able to cover in day 3. Otto was also home this time, so he had the ability to work on some of the home projects and help me tackle some of those bottlenecks with the garden that I wasn't able to do myself, such as tackling the levelness of the area. We find seeds, we get plants from neighbors, there's all sorts of things going on in day 3. So without further ado, let's get to it.
It is a new day. Sheva is hanging out with us in the shade. Otto is back on the tractor, working on leveling out my spot. We got the plants last night as well, so we're gonna go grab those from the car. This little pouch, we have some rhubarb, mini flats of strawberries, the one flat here of all sorts of different species of tomatoes. And in Betty, I should have seeds. So I've been hanging on to these for the past couple of years. I don't know if any of them are any good. I don't even remember what I have. Let's look together. What do I own? Sunflower. I planted some of these. I'm going to plant the rest of them to see if anything will pop up. These are just from the grocery store. Next year, now that I have my garden up and going, I'm planning on actually ordering seeds online. But this is what I had to work with, so I want to just start with this. Okay, we have lettuce, chives, mustard spinach, beet, more mustard spinach, garden bean, cucumber, garden bean, more lettuce, cauliflower, sweet corn, squash, more beets, lettuce, iceberg lettuce, cantaloupe, more cucumber, green onion, looks like, or is it right? It just says onion, but that looks like green onion. Pepper. Peppers, I heard, are pretty hard to grow here because we don't get hot enough, but we'll try it. Squash, more watermelon, and a different random thing of chives. I think all of these seeds are probably at least 3 years old. But I'm gonna try them. I mean, we have them, so we might as well just give them a try. The bigger thing for me is where do I want to put them in my square foot garden beds? So, like watermelon, I'm not gonna trellis that. Lettuce, not gonna trellis. I might trellis squash. Pepper, I won't. Onion, I won't. Cucumber, I think you can trellis. Cantaloupe, I don't think so. I think you can trellis smaller melons, but those get pretty big. Won't trellis. Corn, cauliflower, lettuce. Green beans I can trellis. Cucumber, garden bean. Spinach I won't. Okay, so I want to trellis all of these and then all my tomatoes. So those will get the edges of my garden boxes, and then we'll figure out everything else. Oh, I might be able to trellis squash. Depends on how big they get. I don't know. Oh, well, I've got a good bit to start with. Does anyone want to take bets now on how much, if any, I can yield from these old, several season old seeds? Leave your guesses in the comment section down below. We'll do a reveal at the end of the year, I suppose. There they be. I have no idea where I'm gonna put the strawberries, but that's half the fun, right? I had thought through putting weed barrier fabric on the bottom of my planter boxes, but not in my garden. And it's 100 feet, so I should have plenty. And I got quite a bit, so I think I would have enough for the entire little garden area. My problem is I don't have any garden stakes, and I think that's going to be my next task, is to get that down in the garden. So I'm going to go check in with Otto, and then I think we might be running to the store to grab garden stakes. And that look much nicer.
We then took just a short break to pick up the rocks out of the garden area and pull some weeds to get it prepped for the black fabric that I'm gonna lay down.
Alright, so found the garden stakes. They may have also been having a sale on seeds, so I may have grabbed just a few more, specifically herbs, because I want one of those 4x4 boxes to be herbs. So I got a couple of seeds, a tomato, and some cheese, because I have thawed venison, so we'll have burgers for lunch. It's Memorial Day too, so I thought that would be kind of cool. 200 garden stakes and some birdseed. Okay, we are home. I've got everything that I need to get started on this fabric. I've unloaded everything except for little messages asleep. So I'm going to try to transfer her inside to see if she'll stay asleep and nap in there for a little bit. Change into something a little bit cooler, and then we'll get going on this garden fabric. Alrighty, she is fed, pottied, and changed. I'm changed. Otto is back filling the house so that we can get a genie lift in here and be ready for fixing the roof. We can't even get a genie lift in here until it's backfilled, so that's step number 1. So he's working on that. We're gonna go out into the garden together and start working on setting down the weed barrier garden fabric.
At this point in time, we just went and started laying down fabric and developed the vision as we go. I was looking at this project, and as I'm laying the fabric down, this is where I start to get the inspiration of how I'm going to fit the strawberries into my garden plan, because they were totally an impulse from my lovely friend who had a whole bunch of flats. I was not anticipating planting strawberries, so looking at this black fabric as I'm laying it down is what made me think of where are we going to put all of these strawberries, and that will come up in a little bit later. Doing this garden project was something that was very cathartic for me, because there's so much currently that I cannot control. I can't fix the roof and stop my house from flooding. I can't backfill the house. I can't control a lot of the chaos that's going on in my current living situation, but the garden is something that I can control. I can put my mind to. I can create some semblance of order throughout the chaos of the current homestead and build something that I can be proud of, not only with the intention of hopefully having something that I can feed my family, wholesome foods by the end of the season. That would be ideal, but it's not even the goal. The goal was to do more than I did last year and to have a project that I could feel proud of, that I could accomplish mostly by myself. And that's what this became for me, is a way to embrace and love the messy middle of where our homestead is currently at and make the best of the circumstances that I currently have. And I felt, like I said, a sense of pride and a sense of gratitude that I am able to even put in a garden, and that this garden is giving me a therapeutic release and some area of control that I can bring to this homestead while we are in the midst of all of the chaos. I am a very type A personality. I like to have a plan, a deadline, a vision, and execute it, which is why I give myself self-imposed deadlines. And this garden project was a way for me to take like a physical sigh. It was just something in my control that I could complete and run the project accordingly.
Well, hello. Do you have some watermelon? Hi.
You're not gonna have the best view looking out at me, but that's because this is one of the only spots that's shaded, and I wanted my phone to not be in direct sunlight, so it's not gonna be the best angle for filming, but you shouldn't overheat, so.
I took a short break and had Otto help me bring down these garden boxes. Initially, in part 1 of the garden series, I had been building the garden boxes down by the garden area because I didn't want to risk breaking them with moving them. But that became a non-issue when Otto was around to help me. So he did help me move the garden boxes down to where I had this black fabric laid. It's not perfectly flat, but it's going to be more than good enough for the garden this year. I also decided on this downward slope where he was moving some of the excess soil. It was on a slope but level-ish, and I think that's where I'm going to go ahead and put my strawberry patch since I have all of those strawberry starts from my friend. So I decided I think I'm going to have enough fabric and temporary fencing to do down that hillside, and I might as well just go ahead and fabric it up so that I can have a place to go ahead and put those strawberries, and that's what you see me doing here, is fabricing that hillside. So I also gave myself one extra fabric width on the outside of those boxes near that downhill side so that I had a little bit of extra room to walk around. Now it was time to put in these T-posts. My goodness, in 85-degree weather all by myself, this was quite the feat. You'll see me struggle here quite a bit trying to figure out how to get a handle on making sure the T-posts don't fall over while I'm trying to put them in, and that T-post pounder is very large and very heavy. This is why I weightlift though, like weightlifting for the win, because this was a workout. This was intense. It was very good. I felt very proud of the fact that I was able to do this by myself, but it was exhausting and challenging in just the best of ways. So like I said, I'm glad that I do weightlift because my goodness, this was physically demanding getting all of the T-posts in the ground. It doesn't even really look like it as I'm looking at this footage, but I remember as I was out there just dying in the heat and feeling fatigued with all of the pounding that I needed to do for those. So again, something I was able to do by myself, very proud that I was. I ended up being kind of short on T-posts. I decided to add in a couple more. I wasn't sure if I was going to have enough temporary fencing to go around, but we'll get to that in a bit. For now, it was getting these T-posts in the ground so that I had something to attach the temporary fencing to.
Just that one corner T-post to go, stuck on a rock. So I was getting frustrated. So I decided to give it a quick break because I'm also really hot. So I'm gonna pop in really quick, grab a little bit of water, grab the temporary fencing, and then come down and noodle on that corner post. Okay, I'll be back. Feeling a little bit better, got some water in me, some watermelon, not feeling lightheaded anymore. I dunked my shirt in cold water and I'm wearing that, and that's delightful. This was a really good opportunity to quickly show you what Otto's been up to. He asked me to help him out for a minute. Check it out. It's looking really good. So this is going to be access road back here, and this is all what needs to get leveled out before we can get the genie lift in. He's working on cleaning up so he can start burying some of this. There's temporary fencing.
So initially I found out about temporary fencing because I saw a Instagram reel where somebody used this to section out their garden to allow their ducks in, but to keep their chickens out because they had a slug problem. That's where I got this idea. And let me tell you, this was so satisfying. Is it not just so satisfying to watch this fencing go up and see the progress happen so quickly?
Oh my gosh, I think, there was a lot that we had to do in this garden, but putting this temporary fencing up was quite honestly one of my favorite parts of the entire process. It was so cool to see it happen.
I am so excited with how this is coming together. Gotta take a pause really quick though because Ellie Shava needs fed and I gotta check in on Otto, but we'll be back. We'll be back to finish up the fence in a jiffy.
I then took a quick break to help Otto here to bury this drainage pipe with rocks. We wanted to protect it so that, as he explained it to me, you cover it with rocks so that you don't get a whole bunch of dirt falling through. And that's what we did here so that he could bury it.
Trying to decide how wide I want my door, like how much of this I want to manage. I think that'll be good.
And now we're just adding a final few T-posts. As I strung this fence, I noticed that it needed a little bit more support in the middle to get the tautness I was looking for. So I added a couple of more T-posts here and there, which allowed me to get that extra support that I was needing.
Hey, it was the perfect amount of fencing. I was so surprised it reached all the way back around. And I've got the carabiner on so I can just clip it over to the side. That's my working gate right now. That's not even going to be close to enough soil. I think my plan is I'm going to do that amount per box and do the bottom layer compost mix that I already have. Chicken compost that's been sitting for a couple years so it shouldn't be hot anymore. Hi Kingen. You're my favorite bird. Yes you are. The ducks are awfully curious as to what's going on. Okay, so I've got my first batch of strawberries here. I'm thinking about planting them about 12 inches apart in rows like this with walking room in between so that I can easily get up and down.
Otto has worked many years as a forester, so he took some time here to teach me how to properly plant these roots.
I'm putting plants in the ground! Yeah, I might do a quick town trip too to grab more soil.
Well, that's gonna do it for tonight.
A lot more to do, but I feel good that I actually have plants in the ground. I'm so proud of today's progress. So exciting. Compost! Go ahead and just get all of the plants and bring them down into the garden. So they're all consolidated and I can give everything a water. Poop never looked so good. Moment of truth. Yeah, here we go. Very hard to do this and film. Woo! Thirsty little plants. This is not the best watering hose, but it'll do for today.
Thank you so much for spending time with us here today at the Flocking Farm as we tackled day 3 of Project Garden. You could have been anywhere and you chose to spend some time with us. We really appreciate it. Don't forget to comment down below your guesses at the end of the season. What of those old seasoned seeds is actually going to come to fruition? I'm sure I will be updating you along the entire process as we see things grow or not grow. Also, would you be terribly opposed to hitting that subscribe button? It would help us a lot trying to reach more people as we grow this online family at the Flocking Farm. As always, until next time, don't be afraid to live out loud, and we will catch you on that flippity flop.